Welcome back to Warforged Miniatures. Today, we're back on the path to Golden Demon. Today, we're back on the hunt for Golden Demon. And if you've been following the videos, you know that in the last video I was looking through some artwork in the codexes and different things that I found just to basically pick an artwork that I wanted to base my miniatures on. And in the last video I also talked about how I was going to be entering two separate categories. First, the single miniature 40K, and second, a Middle-earth Lord of the Rings entry. I'm going to start with the 40K one because I have a more clear idea of how I'm going to accomplish that one, but I have a really good idea of what I'm going to do with both of them. So I'm going to talk about that today and talk about my game plan and show you kind of what I got for those projects. So for my 40K entry, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Recently, the Space Wolves Army set came out, and I saw some artwork in that I really liked a lot. It was this one right here. Now, for those of you who don't know, this is Ragnar Blackmane. He is a wolf lord from the Space Wolves, and he is pretty badass. Because of this artwork and because of the new Space Wolves Army set, I kind of got hyped on the Space Wolves, and I read his books. I read the books for Ragnar Blackmane, and he's pretty freaking cool, and I just got really into it, and I really like this art piece, so I kind of wanted to do that. So this is what I'm going with. The first step was to kind of get the miniatures that I felt like I would need and kind of plan it out a little bit. So my idea is to do this exactly, but I'm not gonna do a whole background. I kind of want to do like an individual miniature. I'm not gonna do like a background painting. I know a lot of people do the backgrounds. I want to do, my ideal is to have him standing on the base with a dead orc, because in the painting, I'm not sure if you can see it well in this image, but in the painting he is standing like his one foot is on the dead orc, that his head is in his other hand. So I'm gonna do that, and then it's gonna be a little bit of a rock cliff, and then under that rock cliff is gonna be a little Gretchen, kind of like freaked out and hiding a little bit. That is the game plan, so I figured I'd have to go and get the miniatures. So I already have the Space Wolf Army box. I already have my old Leviathan set, so I have some bits and extra arm pieces. So I picked up Ragnar first, obviously, and he, while being awesome, is not in the exact pose that I need for this kitbash. So my game plan was to kind of look around for something that would fit better, that I could kitbash most of this onto that. What I came up with was there is a Space Wolf, a Blood Claw in this book, that from the Space Wolf Army, that has a very similar stance and kind of a lot of the same iconography already on him. So I'm going to use that along with this Primaris Lieutenant as one arm, because he's holding the sword exactly how I need him to. And I have an extra arm that I can use to put the orc's head on, like holding the orc's head. So that kind of nailed Ragnar. So, which, you know, that's going to be a whole thing on how I kitbash that together, because obviously I'm still new to everything and I'm getting better, but I think that's going to be a little bit of a challenge. I will be doing a future video on how I do that. Next, I actually picked these Gretchen up. It's Runtherd and Gretchen. This dude, I don't know why it was so cheap. I got this for like $15, so I was pretty pumped about that, because the Gretchen are hilarious, and I figured I could use them just in a bunch of different like dioramas or whatever. They're kind of funny, and there's kind of one on there that looks like he's kind of like, I mean, he's pointing, but he kind of looks like he's terrified, which is kind of the idea that I had, is that he'd be like underneath Ragnar, like in a way. I mean, obviously, just reading the books, Ragnar would know immediately that he was there because he could smell him. But I just thought it'd be funny. It'd be like a funny look. So he'd be kind of like hiding down there from Ragnar. And like he'd be like above him with the head and whatever. So I thought that'd be funny. So picked that up, and that was a cool find. I don't have Orc Army. The next thing was I had to pick up some orcs so that I could bust one up and use his head and use his body on the ground. So really the idea there was to just find like one of the newer sets that kind of had the vibe that I was going for. So I got like the newest Orc Boys set, and there's a bunch of heads in there. There's 10 miniatures, so I figured that was like the best bang for my buck, and I would have like the best chance of finding what I'm looking for. And just looking through it, I kind of feel like I can kind of get what I need out of it. Just have him hid the headless dead corpse on the ground that Ragnar's kind of standing on. The hand, holding the blade the correct way that I need. So the only real thing I'd have to do is like, because in the image he has this like mouth closed. He's not doing like a war shout or anything like that. And then in the miniature he is. I don't know how I'm gonna address that. I'll probably just maybe find a different face. Maybe, I don't know. So we'll see how that goes. That will be the next step on the journey for sure. So now that we got the 40K entry out of the way and figured out what we're gonna do, I'm gonna tell you about the Middle Earth Lord of the Rings entry that I'm really, really pumped about. With the Lord of the Rings, the Middle Earth entry, I'm like a huge fan of Lord of the Rings, so I didn't need to look at artwork to kind of figure out what I wanted to do. I've seen the movie so many times. I've watched the behind the scenes a bunch. I have played all the games. I love it. So my idea for this is to do just a little bit of a scene from the top of Orthanc where Gandalf was held prisoner by Saruman, and when he's up there right before Gandalf is about to jump off and jump onto an eagle, that is the base for the what I want to do. So the idea is to kind of build the top of Orthanc as the plinth essentially and do the scene on top of that. So I have a good idea of how I want to do that, but I still have to kind of figure out some tweaks. Basically how they made Orthanc in the movie was they carved it out of wax. So I'm thinking about trying to do that the same way as they carved it out of wax and then made a mold, and I think I could possibly do that myself. The top isn't like the most complicated, but it would kind of like, it's like made of obsidian, so it has like a specific look. So I want to try to make that as accurately as possible. That's what I'm trying to figure out right now, so that's why I'm going to start with doing Ragnar first. Now, because I didn't have any Middle Earth miniatures at all, I really kind of had to start from scratch there. I was kind of looking into them and picked up a couple miniatures to kind of make this happen. Obviously Saruman, this is the newest Saruman, and he's pretty awesome, so I'm pretty excited. I mean, I love the Lord of the Rings, so it's just an excuse to buy Lord of the Rings miniatures probably, but I don't care. They're freaking awesome, and I think this is gonna look so cool if I can pull it off the way I want. I also had to get some Gandalf the Grey, and there is 2 of them, so I bought both because I mean, how am I not going to? It comes with the whole fellowship. And then I also got the Hobbit one because this is the newer one. I thought this is like the newer sculpt, so I thought it might look better. And I'm gonna kind of find a way to bash those together into what I need. In the scene, Gandalf is not wearing his hat, so in both of those, he's wearing his hat. So I think I might be chopping the noggin off Thorin Oakenshield and putting it on Gandalf, because I mean, I don't know if you can see it. Doesn't matter. I'll show you. Thorin has like pretty similar hair, like the hairstyle, so that might be the game plan there, but I'm pretty excited about that. So that's it for those 2 projects. We'll see how those go. I have ideas of what I'd do if I had more time to do more projects. I'm a sick person. I barely have time to do anything, and I'm already thinking of other things that I'd paint for Golden Demon. But I'm going, so I might as well bring as much as I can. But we're going to get started with these. So we're starting with the 40K. We're starting with Ragnar. Really excited about that. So we're going to get going on that soon. So this is the game plan, guys. Follow along. Remember to subscribe to the channel so that you can follow and see the madness that is about to come. See me freaking sculpting, carving shit out of wax. It's going to be fun. I already purchased, I think, everything that I need. Who knows? We'll see. This is an expensive hobby, but I'm enjoying every minute of it. So yeah, I'm excited. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to like and comment. Comment if you have any ideas for me, any ideas on how I can accomplish any of the things I talked about. Yeah, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel so that you can see these videos. If you haven't watched the other 2 parts of this so far, go back and do that. And thank you guys again for watching. Peace out.